They said it was the most brutal Hell in a Cell match in recent history. They said Centimeter Punk and Drew McIntyre crossed every line imaginable. But what they didn't tell you is that WWE deliberately edited out the most shocking moments from the broadcast, and the director's cut reveals a level of violence and pure hatred that makes their PG product look like a complete joke. If you think you saw everything that happened at Bad Blood 2025, you're dead wrong, and by the end of this video, you're going to understand why this match should have never been allowed to happen. Before we dive deep into what WWE doesn't want you to see, we have a quick request for you. We are constantly working to improve our content to earn your love and support. That's why we would truly appreciate it if you could take a moment to leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon so you never miss an update here on Wrestling Zone Insider. Let's start with the elephant in the room. The Hell in a Cell structure has been WWE's ultimate weapon for settling blood feuds since 1997, but somewhere along the way, it became sanitized, predictable, and safe. Bad Blood 2025 was supposed to change that narrative. Centimeter Punk vs. Drew McIntyre wasn't just another match on the card, it was personal warfare years in the making. The problem? WWE's broadcast version gave you maybe 70% of what actually transpired inside that demonic cage. The director's cut opens with footage that never made it to air. Before the cage even lowered, there's an unedited backstage confrontation where Drew McIntyre verbally destroys Punk with comments about his injuries, his age, and his relevance in modern wrestling. This wasn't scripted banter, this was legitimate animosity captured on camera, and you can see real anger flashing in Punk's eyes. The production team cut this because it made both men look like they genuinely wanted to hurt each other, which apparently was too real for the PG audience. Trivia question number 1, how many Hell in a Cell matches has Centimeter Punk competed in throughout his entire WWE career? Drop your answer in the comments below. When that cage finally locked, the director's cut shows a completely different opening sequence. The broadcast version had them circling each other, building tension. The reality? They immediately started throwing wild punches with zero regard for storytelling or psychology. Drew caught Punk with a stiff headbutt that opened up a cut above his eye within the first 30 seconds. You can see the referee checking on Punk, but the doctor never stopped the match. WWE edited this to make it look like the blood came later from a planned spot. It didn't. That was legitimate color from a shoot headbutt, and it set the tone for everything that followed. The weapon spots in the director's cut are absolutely insane. We all saw the steel chairs, the tables, and the traditional Hell in a Cell weaponry. What we didn't see was Drew McIntyre introducing a tool bag filled with actual construction equipment. There's a 2-minute sequence completely removed from the broadcast where Drew uses a wrench, a screwdriver handle, and what appears to be a small crowbar on Punk's already damaged body. The close-ups are brutal. You can see Punk's skin breaking, real welts forming, and the genuine struggle in his face as he tries to fight back through legitimate pain. Here's where it gets controversial. At approximately the 15-minute mark in the director's cut, there's a spot where Centimeter Punk hits the GTS on Drew McIntyre directly onto a pile of thumbtacks. The broadcast version shows this from a distance with quick cuts. The director's cut has a stationary camera angle that captures Drew's back in graphic detail. We're talking hundreds of tacks embedded in his skin, blood streaming down his back, and Drew's face contorted in agony that no amount of selling could replicate. WWE removed this angle because it was too disturbing for their sponsors and too real for their family-friendly image. Trivia question number 2, in what year did Drew McIntyre make his main roster debut in WWE? Let us know in the comments. The commentary in the director's cut is completely different too. Michael Cole and Corey Graves weren't just calling moves, they were expressing genuine concern about the welfare of both competitors. There are multiple instances where you can hear them going off script, questioning whether the match should continue. At one point, Corey Graves literally says, "This has gone too far, and it's not part of the storyline, it's a legitimate reaction to what he's witnessing." WWE muted these moments and replaced them with generic commentary about legacy and determination. The most shocking deletion involves the finish. Everyone saw Centimeter Punk hit the GTS for the victory, but the director's cut reveals that this was the third attempt at ending the match. The referee counted 2 previous pinfalls that were waved off due to both men being unable to continue. Medical staff entered the cage twice during sequences that never made it to broadcast. There's footage of doctors examining both wrestlers, checking for concussions, and arguing with producers about whether the match should be stopped. This completely changes the narrative from a definitive victory to a situation where both men were so damaged that they could barely finish what they started. Let me address something that's going to make people angry. Centimeter Punk is 46 years old. Drew McIntyre is 39. They are not young lions trying to make a name for themselves. They are established veterans with nothing left to prove, yet they put their bodies through absolute hell for a match that most of the audience will forget in 6 months. The director's cut makes this reality painfully obvious. You see them struggling to stand, genuinely hurt, moving slowly between spots because they are actually injured, not selling. This isn't entertainment, it's two men destroying their bodies for a corporation that will replace them the moment they can't perform anymore. The post-match footage in the director's cut is equally disturbing. After Punk's music hits and the celebration begins, the unedited version shows both men being helped to the back by multiple agents. Drew McIntyre collapses twice on the ramp. Centimeter Punk is limping so badly that he can barely put weight on his left leg. These aren't works. These are real injuries sustained during a match that was booked to be excessively violent for the sake of shock value. WWE edited all of this out to preserve the illusion that everything is controlled and safe. We need to talk about the cell itself. The director's cut includes multiple angles showing significant structural damage to the cage. There's a section near the announce table where the chain link is completely torn, creating jagged metal edges that both wrestlers crashed into multiple times. The broadcast version avoided these angles because they reveal how dangerous the environment actually was. There's even a moment where part of the ceiling structure comes loose and nearly falls on both competitors. The camera cuts away immediately in the broadcast version, but the director's cut shows ring crew rushing to secure it while the match continues underneath. Trivia question number 3. Who was Centimeter Punk's opponent in his first Hell in a Cell match? Share your knowledge in the comments. Here's the reality that WWE doesn't want you to understand. The director's cut exists because there are contractual obligations to document everything for legal and insurance purposes. These unedited versions are never meant to be seen by the public because they expose the reality behind the illusion. When clips from director's cuts leak online, they remind us that professional wrestling, despite all the predetermined outcomes and storylines, involves real human beings experiencing real pain and taking real risks that could end their careers or worse. The violence in the director's cut isn't just gratuitous, it's uncomfortable. There's no cinematic quality to it, no dramatic music cues, no strategic camera cuts to hide the reality. It's raw footage of two men hitting each other with weapons, bleeding, sweating, and pushing their bodies beyond reasonable limits. This is what WWE sanitizes for television. This is what gets edited, polished, and packaged into a consumable product that won't upset advertisers or trigger content warnings on streaming platforms. Both Centimeter Punk and Drew McIntyre have given everything to professional wrestling. They've sacrificed their health, their personal lives, and years of their existence for this industry. The Bad Blood Hell in a Cell match was supposed to be their masterpiece, the definitive chapter in their rivalry. Instead, the director's cut reveals it as a cautionary tale about an industry that demands too much from its performers and then edits out the consequences to maintain the fantasy. So what's the takeaway from all of this? The director's cut of Centimeter Punk vs. Drew McIntyre at Bad Blood 2025 isn't just extended footage or bonus content. It's evidence that modern wrestling still operates with one foot in carnival brutality while trying to present a corporate, family-friendly image. The disconnect between what actually happens in that ring and what makes it to your television screen is massive, and when you see the unedited reality, it changes your entire perspective on what these performers endure. If WWE truly cared about their wrestlers' well-being, matches like this wouldn't happen in the first place. But they know that controversy creates cash, and ultraviolence generates social media buzz. The director's cut gets leaked strategically to hardcore fans who will spread it online, generating additional interest in the product while maintaining plausible deniability about the actual content. It's a calculated business strategy that exploits both the performers and the audience. The question you need to ask yourself is this: are you okay with watching people destroy themselves for your entertainment? Because that's what the director's cut reveals. It's not heroic, it's not glorious, and it's definitely not worth the long-term consequences both men will face from this single match. Final trivia question: what was the official match time for Centimeter Punk vs. Drew McIntyre at Bad Blood 2025? Drop your answer in the comments, and let us know what you think about the director's cut controversy. Before we close out this video, we have a quick request for you. If you found this deep dive into the Bad Blood director's cut eye-opening, please take a moment to leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon so you never miss an update here on Wrestling Zone Insider. We're committed to bringing you the real stories behind the headlines, and your support makes that possible. The director's cut of this Hell in a Cell match will probably never be officially released in its entirety. WWE will continue to control the narrative, edit the violence, and present a sanitized version of events that protects their image. But those of us who've seen the unedited footage know the truth. We know what Centimeter Punk and Drew McIntyre actually went through, and we know that the price of entertainment is sometimes paid in blood, pain, and shortened careers that no amount of editing can erase. This is Wrestling Zone Insider, reminding you that the real story is always more complicated than what you see on television.